Happy Monday.
Hey everybody, happy end of Mother's Day weekend.
Yes. It should be Mother's Day should be a long weekend.
Yes.
Mom should get the Monday off.
You should get the Monday off.
Yes.
Imagine.
That's not a bad idea.
An extra day of rest. I feel like all moms say they want is rest.
Yep.
So
They definitely do.
that might not be a bad idea. But
Yeah.
good to see you all. Hope you had a good weekend.
Yes.
Wherever you were tuning in from, if you were in Toronto East or in Mississauga, if you were watching online, it was such a great week. I loved seeing Holly preach.
Yeah.
She did such a great job.
She did such a good job. I loved her outfit too.
I know.
was like, this is a good outfit.
It was fun. It
Yes.
was really fun. How did you celebrate Mother's Day weekend? Did you do anything fun? Put it in the chat. What did you do?
I didn't do anything. So I did get to spend some time with my mom on Saturday, and then on Sunday after church, all the last 4 days, I was like, what do you want to do for Mother's Day? What do you want to do for Mother's Day? And she kept saying, I just want to rest. But she was like, I know you feel bad for not doing anything, so we can do something so you don't feel bad. And I was like, well, that's silly. So I did get her a really nice gift, but we didn't do anything for Mother's Day. And she also said, like, everything's packed. Like, restaurants are always packed. The malls are packed.
It's all about just quality time.
Yes.
So even if you just spend some time with her and give her a gift,
yes,
I think that's good. That's all really. I didn't do much with my parents or anything either, but I don't know. It's just fun to have that one-on-one time with them. We did a walk for the Pregnancy Care Center in the morning. Shout out Stephen Finch, who came first. His claim to fame.
I can't believe that.
Coming in first and second at this 5K walk supporting people experiencing unexpected pregnancies. But it's one of our favorite organizations. We've been partnering with them since I started here. It was one of our first organizations that we started partnering with. And we've seen so much fruit. We have such like a quality relationship with some of the staff there, the executive director. So it's always just such a great cause, and they surpassed their fundraising goal, which is really cool. So
that's incredible.
I know they have big dreams and big plans for what's to come next.
Yes.
So I'm excited for them. Wonder said she relaxed and had dinner. Carrie's with you. She loved Holly's outfit. Shout out Carrie, my mother-in-law. Happy belated Mother's Day to you. We're excited to see you tonight. And hey, Camille, good to have you on here.
Cagney said she went to a quilt show
with her mom. That. That's so cute.
That is so cute, and that is so fun.
Charlotte said, my kids and I went to dinner, and no one spilled anything.
That's great.
That's always a win.
Yes.
But it was such a great message. Yeah. I love that she was in the theme of Ghostwriter still.
Yeah.
And her message was called Now What?
Now What?
It was really great. So why don't we check out this clip to remind us of one of our highlight points and put in the chat what stood out to you, what part of the message was just for you. So check this out.
So many now what moments along the way. But you just got to get in the presence of Jesus, because you know what? His word, his direction is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. He only gives you a little bit at a time because he's right there with you every step of the way. And when you get here, when you get to the climax, you will have had so many miracles. So many miracles along the way that you realize that this part is all about God. It's not even about me.
I love that. Many of you know I used to be a teacher, and teaching English was one of my favorite things to do. So I know these story plots well.
Right.
Like, we did so many of these story mountains when we were doing, for me, I was a little bit younger. We did like Little Red Hen and things, but it really resonated with me. And I think my favorite part is when she talked about when you do get to the climax of the story, really at the end of it all, you'll be able to say, wow, God, that was you. Mm-hmm. You were the one doing that great work, and you were the one that were doing the great work in me. And I just think about so many times I think, well, first of all, I don't think I'm ever going to get to that top of the mountain peak, but there are times that I do. And if I can kind of think back to those different moments, I can see how God was with me. And really, I want to be able to say it was God that sustained me. Right. It was God that brought me through. So I don't know. I just really love that part.
Yeah, I think like really at the end of the day, all God wants is for his glory to be shown in and through us. And I think about the story of Joseph, like that's everything that he walked through, all the crazy stories in Genesis talking about his life and what he went through. At the end of it, he was able to look back and be like, actually, all this was so that many people could be saved and they could see God through me.
Right.
And really that's all God wants, is for his glory to be known.
Right.
So
I want to make sure that when we do get to the top of the mountain, or when I get to the top of the mountain, that people do see God and not me. And that kind of becomes the testimony of how God helped me and how he sustained me. So I loved that point. So her message was so clear, which I always really appreciate, and super practical. And she said there are 4 things to consider in a now what situation. So I'll just recap it for you right now. The first one was accept the push. God may allow things to happen in your life to get you to move. Find a person, even though bad things might happen. Get around some good people. Respond to the pull. Miracles are often disguised as interruptions. And get in his presence. So out of those 4, which one did you resonate with? Which one were you challenged by? Kind of, what do you think about all that? And put it in the chat too.
The one I resonate with the most, I can't talk today, is the people. Find people. And I think that was the most important and critical part of my walk. Like when I first came into relationship with Jesus, but also just as I continue walking with him, is getting around the right people. Because like Pastor Holly said, even though bad things happen to good people, God's people know where to take those bad things. And there have been so many situations in life where I've had something hard happen to me, and if I take it to the wrong people, they're not going to know what to do with it. They won't surrender it to God. They won't pray with me. They'll just maybe even make it worse. And when you get around the right people, they'll be like praying for you, come walk alongside you, or give you even God's perspective. Like something that's been super helpful through even E-Group and SIA is, okay, this has happened to me, but someone else saying, well, what if God was doing it for this reason? We don't know, but even having that perspective gives so much hope. So that was the one that stuck with me the most.
I think for me, it was respond to the pull, and how miracles are often disguised as interruptions. And so many times I know that I look at interruptions as like, what's going on? Like my immediate kind of fight or flight response kicks in, and I'm like, this is so hard, God. But shifting my perspective to that, it could be a mini miracle, and it is going to be what brings me to that mountaintop, was super encouraging for me. So I feel like this week I'm really trying to keep the perspective. If things are interrupting me, let me just respond to it and let me ask God. I was talking to a friend of mine actually yesterday. I didn't know if we'd cross paths, and we ended up crossing paths, and I ended up talking with her for over an hour afterwards. And I could have seen it as an interruption. We were all packed, ready to go, but it was exactly the words that I needed to hear that day. And it's just a simple thing, but I really feel like God's teaching me that sometimes miracles don't have to be big, huge gestures. It could just be that little thing that happens that reminds you that he's with you, that he cares about you, that he's sending you people to encourage you, and that he's right beside you. So yeah, maybe it's not a miracle of the sea splitting, but just to know that he's looking out for me and kind of giving me words to hold on to is so great.
I, first of all, when you were saying that, I just kept thinking about Million Little Miracles. I still love that song, and it has been so impactful for me. But also when you were saying that, I was thinking about the verse in John 16:33 that talks about Jesus is talking, and he's like, you're going to have troubles in this world. Like Pastor Holly was saying, that inciting incident, you will go through that thing, but the promise is that he's always with you. And that's what Jesus says. He's like, take heart, I've overcome the world, but you will have trouble. He doesn't say if you have trouble, he says you will have trouble. And so I loved when Pastor Holly was saying following Jesus means you never have to walk through that inciting incident alone.
Yeah, that's good.
And that in itself is a miracle. Like knowing that he's always right there beside you, walking alongside you, is such a promise.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. All right, well, we have an action step.
We do have an action
today. Replace why me with now what. So at the beginning, Holly mentioned that she interviewed an author. She was a Holocaust survivor, and I actually was on live with her during that interview, and it was such an impactful interview. If you go to hollyfurtick.com, I'm sure you can go back and find it, because what this woman went through and how she survived and the mental strength it took, it was so inspiring to me. And I just think so many times in my life I can think, oh, why me? Why is this happening? And I am really trying to flip the script. And she gave such great language with saying, okay, this is happening, now what? And sometimes it's okay to be in a season where you're just clinging onto God with everything that you have. That's exactly where God wants you to be. So if you find yourself in a place where you're experiencing a difficulty or a challenge, it's okay to say, God, I'm just going to stay so close to you this season. I'm just going to be in my Bible. I'm going to be prioritizing spending time with you, praying, listening to worship music. And I need you. Like, I really need you. It's okay to be that honest with God and have that like desperate need for him. Because I think so many times we can think that we're weak or like that's not actually going to do anything. That's actually the best thing that you can do. So instead of saying, why me, say now what, and believe that God will go with you when you stay close to him, and believe that he's gonna get you through kind of that, I don't know, get you up to the top of the peak.
And if you don't believe that God wants to hear us in those moments, go back and read all of David's Psalms. He talks about it all the time. He literally says, and we have a song about it, I sought the Lord, he heard, and he answered.
Right.
And we also refer to him as like the man after God's own heart. God wants to hear us in those desperate times. He doesn't want us to go anywhere else. He wants us to go to him. So,
right. So good. So good. Well, have a great week, everybody. We have Rhythm Night happening this week,
Rhythm
don't we?
is happening this Wednesday here at our Mississauga location, 1980 Matheson Boulevard East. It's going to be incredible. It's the last Rhythm Night of the year, of the school year. But it's going to be great.
Starts back up in September?
Yeah, I think it might start back up in August.
Okay.
Not 100% sure, but I think the end of August it might start back up.
Ultimately, you don't want to miss it. So if you know anybody that's a youth, make sure you're inviting them out to it, telling them about it, spreading the news, because I know it's going to be an impactful night. The Rhythm Nights are always
the best.
Always so fun.
Yes.
Always so fun. But if not, we will see you this Sunday in church. Have a great week. Now what?
Now what?